So hello and welcome to this playthrough slash tutorial based on Pro Football, Draft Day Sports Pro Football 2024. What this series is going to be like I said, a walkthrough, a playthrough, however you want to put it. I don't know how much of a tutorial it's going to be. I assume you're watching this, you probably have some familiarity with the game, and presumably with football itself. I don't think if I made this a full tutorial, this could end up being these could end up being very, very, very long videos. So hopefully you can learn something along the way, and hopefully I'll learn something along the way vis-a-vis your comments and my experience. So let's just kind of dive right into this. Again, I really have no preconceived notion of how this series is going to go. I'm just kind of winging it. This is my first playthrough series, so please be kind in the comments. But seriously, I welcome any constructive criticism based on the gameplay, my strategies, the video itself. So let's just kind of go into a little preamble. This video is probably just going to be introductory in nature, and then we'll kind of hit the ground running in the next one. So let me just kind of set the stage here. So what I've done is I've taken a standard NFL league, and what I've done is I've already simmed a few years into the future, because what I want to do is I want to find a team I can rebuild, a team that really needs rebuild. I want a challenge, and so I've went through a lot of preparation for this in terms of simming several leagues and kind of a whole through process. So yeah, I'm not going to go through all that or go through all that process. It was a lot, but it's worth it, I think. So I'm just going to show you the conclusion of what I decided to start with. I'm going to start with the Minnesota Vikings. This is not based on any particular affinity for the Vikings, or I have no particular feelings about the Vikings one way or the other. The reason I decided on the Vikings is because, as I said, I started this series by already simming a few seasons. And if we look at the history tab here, there's a lot to improve upon. This is a team that was 14-1 last year. Yes, I went back to 16-game seasons. I don't like the 17-game season. So yeah, that's one customization I made. Everything else, all the teams are there. I made some very slight changes to the default settings, which I'll show you in a few minutes. So we got a full roster, but the cover's pretty bare. Full roster in number, basically, but we've been getting, or they've been, I've just taken it over. I bear no responsibility for the 14-1. I've just taken this over. So we're $10 million over the cap, and we have a lot of rebuilding to do. Just quickly going through the roster, there's really not that much here. There's obviously there are some top players, and they're overpaid in some cases. But the talent level drops off pretty quickly. If we go into a brief history of the past few seasons, go to season recaps, regular season. So yeah, this is what we mean. They were 14-1 last year, 7-9 the year before. 9-7 the year before that. It's a team that scored 207 points. That seems to be the lowest by far. 207 points. Let's do the quick math. That's just about 13 points per game average. Gave up 492, which is not the worst. See, the Jets gave up 496. I could have just as easily chosen the Jets for this one. But there are other video series that use the Jets. So, Cardinals gave up 500. So it's not the worst, but near the bottom statistically. 492 points given up. That's about 31 points per game. So the average game last year, the average score was 31-13 against. We got a lot of work to do. I also wanted to choose a team that has some cap troubles. If we look at the salary cap here, you can see why we have a lot of rebuilding to do here. Cap space, well, I mean, we're hardly the worst team in terms of cap space. But we have 59 players. We're at the beginning of the season, very beginning of the season, where it's staff sign R1. Again, when you start a brand new league, it takes you past the draft into free agency 6. But we're starting. Like I said, I've simmed forward a few seasons already because I wanted to find a team I can rebuild and a team that I would have a challenge rebuilding because of the salary cap. I don't think I can go into... Yeah, I'm not going to go into team stats. It's a bad team. I mean, I don't think there's... The bottom of the power rankings, you get the idea. So, like I said, we'll start the actual play in the next video. I just wanted to kind of make this one real quick just to kind of bring things up to speed. There's one other thing I want to share, and that is I've made... To make things a little more challenging, I have changed some of the default options. Well, challenging in some ways and not challenging in others. Let's for starters, I mentioned the cap. I want to make this difficult. The default salary cap when you start a new league is $250 million. I've set it at $185 million. Now, I've also lowered the minimum, the maximum contracts by position. Like a quarterback maxes out at $45 million, and and a lot of these others are probably up to maybe low 20s. Some of these are in low 20s. So yeah, players. Now here's the thing: we just lowered these, so you can see there are still a lot of very highly paid players out there, and this. This $185 million is going to be a good cap, and it's going to take a few years to kind of get those old contracts out of there. I've also slightly widened the salary ranges, so that you have some players. You're not going to have quite the large salary structure that you'd have in the default game. We are going to force a strict cap. I don't know why that's unchecked. And so other things here, like I said, we've gone with the 16-game schedule. I have set... We're going to do a few other changes here. Training camp games, we're going to set those on high. Actually, we'll set... We'll set those on very high. We'll keep in-season games to normal. Injury chances to normal. Position development, we'll make that a bit high. Scouting accuracy, normal. We'll also raise the scouting points given a little bit. 2 preseason games works for me. 7 rounds draft. We're going to make sure we reseed the playoffs. And I think that's it. So, I mean, like I said, we've set the salary cap pretty low. If we need to raise it, we'll do that down the line. But you can see that the way things are, if you go to finances, there are a lot of teams in cap trouble. And it's very possible we could have the majority of teams that don't even have a full roster the first year. That's going to kind of work its way out. I toyed with the idea of turning the cap off for 1 year to let things adjust, but we won't do that. We'll leave it as is. So I think that pretty much brings things up to speed. Salary analysis, I don't think we're going to find out much from this. I mean, again, we have players who are still making big contracts under the old system. So, we'll see. I think we may... I want to keep this challenging, so I think I'll leave the cap turned on. And we'll just have to... we may have a not filled roster for a year or so as these older, bigger contracts work their way out of the system. Okay, I'm going to stop the first video right here. I don't want to make each of these too long. I know some of these playthrough videos could be, 45 minutes an entire season. We don't really want to do it that way here. So, I'm going to leave off, and in the next video, we're going to jump right in and start our staff signing and all the preseason stuff that we go through in a normal game. All right, so thanks for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, leave your comments. Tell me what you think. What are we what are we doing well? What are we not doing well? And hopefully, if you can take. So this is not intended as a tutorial, but if you can learn something along the way, that's great. And maybe I'll learn something from you as well. Okay, I'll see you next time.